Hey guys, welcome to day 3 of Unlocked to 90, and today we're going to talk about ankle mobility and calf flexibility. And as we were going through the exercises earlier when we were talking about the hips, we want to also look not just going up the chain but down the chain. So sometimes when, depending on the type of shoe you wear, the job or activity you do throughout the day, the ankles get really stiff. And if your foot's kind of set offside, also depending on hand dominance, it can also rotate your bones and then everything gets shifted up top. So, whether that plays into knee pain, hip pain, low back, mid back, in between the shoulder blades, neck, everything is related and connected. So what I'll talk to you is just kind of the different techniques you can go through to stretch it. Now, if you don't have a half foam roller, these are actually pretty inexpensive to get on Amazon or online, but you can also just use a book or just something to prop the toe up under. So it's not that difficult to do what we call like a basic calf stretch. So even though like the basic calf stretches, when you're leaning forward and getting that stretch where the heel's down and the toes on the pad here, holding that for 15, 20 seconds, that's a good stretch, but that's not the only way to open up the ankle. So the ankle has different motions that it goes through, and it's one of the most mobile joints besides the shoulder and the body and the hip. So we want to go in there and hit it from all different directions so we can line it up as much as possible. So we'll go through the main ones, and then I'll show you a few exercises you can get on top of it. So put this on the ground. We're gonna do the first one, and these are dynamic, meaning they're movement exercises, movement stretches to get the ankle opened up. So I'm gonna start with my heel down. If you need to, because of balance, you can always hold on to something if you feel like you're gonna shift, your body weight and you kind of lose your balance. And also sometimes helps get a better stretch. So what I'll do is keep the heel down, only put the toe up on top as high as you feel comfortable, because you don't want to overstretch the calf or Achilles. You'll know right away when you're leaning forward how tight it is. And honestly, this is probably one of the most significant things in people with low back pain is they have really tight calves, and they don't realize it, but that throws off the way they walk, and then it always keeps shifting up top. So heel down, leaning forward, and then once I get that pre-stretch, I'm gonna bring the knee up and down. So with the Achilles and the calf, the Achilles, the muscle, the calf muscle and the Achilles, when it goes and attaches in the calcaneus, the bottom bone of your foot, basically what that does is it can invert or evert. When they talk about the supinated foot where the foot turns in, and then everyone's trying to go get the shoes to try to correct it. So that's dynamic level 1, where you bring the knee up and down, hip flexion, lean into it. And again, you're to do both sides. Usually I'll do sets of 10 or 15. So 2 sets of 15, 3 sets of 10 to keep it simple. So stretching it. So again, you find out where your comfort zone is. Pre-stretch, you always set the posture first, then do the active motion. Second, level 2, again, pretty easy. Keep the heel down, get your pre-stretch, knees bent, and then it's like the clamshell we did laying on the side, except you're standing. Activating that hip muscle, bring the foot and the knee together. So I say bring the foot and knee together, they both move to the outside together. It's not rotating, knee and foot move together. So it's like you're pushing someone away with the shin. So keeping that heel down, lean into it, knee bent, hip abduction. So same thing we did laying on our side, pretty much like the clamshell level 2. And again, same thing, other side. Getting the gist of it, it's pretty simple, huh? So third one, a little bit more dynamic, and a lot of times I'll ease into these. So I'll just go, when people first knew these, I'll start with level 1 and 2, later on go into level 3. So that, again, it depends on what level of fitness you're at and how much pull and tension it's gonna be on your back. So level 3, I'll move this out here. You lean forward, the leg is hanging, so I let gravity take it, but it's controlled hanging. So I'm also turning that foot in and out. So as I get my lean forward, and I feel, you'll feel it in the hip, but you can control the internal external rotation of your femur, your lower leg, as a toe turns in and out. So that's level 3. Sometimes they call it like the runners, the track stretch, where they're up against the fence and they're swinging the leg in and out. So same thing on the other side, heel down, toe in, let that leg hang, let gravity take it. So it's a controlled hang with rotation, letting that foot turn in and out. So again, it's as dynamic as you want it to be when you're going through the motions. If you're going to do the straight on calf stretch, that one's just more of again, keeping the heel down, leaning forward. And if you need the balance, you always recommend holding on to something. Get your 10, 15, 20 second hold in there, releases. Now that's just the gastroc when you're doing the straight on, which is the outer muscle of the calf. Now if you want to get deep in and what actually causes most injuries, you're going to look at the thicker part of the calf muscle, which is the soleus, and that's underneath your calf muscle. So when you look at the calf muscle, you have two bellies on the outside, on the back. These are your soleus. I mean, the gastroc. Underneath the deep is the soleus. So that one's gonna be the thicker, stronger muscle. The only really way to stretch that one and also to strengthen it is to be at 90 degrees when you're pushing up and down. So that's when you'll see the seated calf raises at the gym versus the standing ones. Those are the difference. So if you want to get muscle mass in your calf muscle, you're going to look at doing the seated ones. You can still get muscle mass doing the standing, but it's not going to be as defined girth-wise of the belly as you would the seated. So the stretch though, what I'll do is have people bend that knee slightly. So this is the only time really that I say you can and will bend the knee going past the toe, because you always want to conserve the knee for most exercises, but you'll let that knee, you basically again, keep that heel down so it's controlled. So I'll have my heel down, putting weight through my heel, toe is just on top, the pre-stretch, and then I'll slowly lean forward. So you'll feel a little bit different pull than you would as if you're standing straight up. So you're going to feel kind of sometimes more on the outside, lower level. You're not just also sometimes getting the pull from the calf muscle, but also the fascia, the layer of connective tissue that layers on top of the muscles between the skin and the muscles. So that's going to be pulled too. So you always, again, awareness of where your knee is in relation to the foot. Turn it here so you can see, heel down, weight bearing through the heel, toe is on, and then as I lean forward, again, I've got most of my weight through the heel, so I feel my glutes activated, pressing down, but as I use my body weight to press forward into the knee, or knee forward, rather drive the knee forward, I can feel a different stretch than as if I did going straight on. So difference is there, and again, your basic ones for the calf raises that most people know about, obviously, is the straight up and down. So again, it doesn't have to be pad, it could be a book, it could be a magazine, whatever you want. You don't even need one sometimes, but you're just your calf raises. If you want to get a little bit more dynamic with it, we'll do your knee raise with it, the hip flexion. But another one a lot of people skip that they don't do, and you could just do this active first, is your toe raises. So you want to activate the anterior tib muscle. That's responsible for when you step forward, controlled lowering of the foot when we're going through our gait or walking pattern. So if you're doing, so usually I'll do keep the hips and knees slightly bent and then pull the toes up. Sets of 10, 15. So even a lot of times you may not feel like you're doing a lot, you actually are, because again, it's more repetition of the nervous system, maintaining the activation of muscles. The quicker your muscles kick in, then the faster you have support whenever you're stepping somewhere, especially if you're going to be going hiking or if you're going to be going on surfaces that are not level, meaning like grass or gravel or something that's slippery, then the muscles are going to kick in quicker. So I was reminding you earlier when we were doing the hip motion exercises about how there's all these receptors on your joints. Same thing in the ankle. So when someone rolls their ankle, they tend to lose that proprioception. That's why I do a lot of balance work. And so what we're trying to do is go in here, regain mobility of your ankle joint so that you have the mechanics of motion. So there's more contact of the bones. So your tibia, fibula won't actually go in contact unless you have too much dorsiflexion, but the tibia and the talus. So when you're having that contact, it activates and it says to tell those nerves saying, hey, kick in muscles, surround, support, more so in the ligament since there's not a lot of protection of muscles. So all in all, you want better alignment, you're gonna get better feedback to the nervous system, more activation of muscles, and then also more stability and balance. So whenever you're going through your hiking exercises, you're walking, you're running, it's gonna be less pain shooting up the gate.